And then just take the eyes closed or looking towards the ground. And just the eyes soft and the jaw soft. And just having that sense of arriving into your body, which sounds silly, but just the attention arriving into the body, because you can be so outside of the body all day long and so externally focused. And just starting to lengthen the breath a little bit. And if you're familiar with the Ujjayi breath, you can use that sort of in and out of the nose breathing with a slight constriction at the back of the throat, just to calm the breath a little bit and start giving it a bit of rhythm. And have a sense of grounding. Literally could think of grounding by sending the roots of a tree down through your spine and into the earth, as if they could take hold into the deep dark earth and give you that sense of connecting with something that's so solid and supportive and stable. I've been talking a lot this week about the frenetic energy that we can kind of build up in this situation, and just sort of sending any of that energy that you've got built up down into the earth as if you're grounding all your electricity. And then we'll take the hands together at the heart, and you can just nestle the thumbs in at the heart, and you can open the eyes. And we'll do a little sequence, which is turning the hands down. So you're making a downward facing triangle, and then you sweep the hands down to the floor, kind of skim the floor, and then all the way up and overhead. And then bring the thumbs and the little fingers together so that you're making like a flower which comes down to the heart. And then you press the palms together, inhale there, and then we'll just continue with that cycle. So sweeping down with the hands, up and overhead, thumbs and the little fingers coming together, and that lotus flower at the heart. Inhaling and sort of trying to go in time with your own breath as you exhale down and inhale up and exhale back down again, and inhale to press the palms together, and a couple more times like that. This is the heart womb river. So we're connecting through the heart and the creative center of the womb down to the earth and up to the heavens above. So just acknowledging that connection. This final time. Let the hands rest in Namaste at the heart. And then we'll just take the hands up and wide all the way down, and take the hands behind you so that you could stretch the legs out, and we'll just open up the chest. So the hands are coming quite close towards each other behind, opening up the chest and pointing the toes and looking up. And we'll take a nice deep breath, and on your exhalation we'll do 3 lion's breaths, so the tongue will come all the way out. So breathing in, big starey eyes, 2 more up towards the ceiling. Tongue comes all the way out. Hold the breath in a little bit at the top. And then bring the legs a little wider. And then we'll just circle around like we're stirring the pot. And the toes could be peeled back towards you a little bit if you want that extra stretch on the back of the legs. And at some point just changing directions. Now just one more and back to the center. And then we'll stretch up, fingers nice and wide, toes nice and wide, and breathing in and holding the breath in. And as you exhale, bring knees and elbows in towards each other so you can have a big deep exhalation. And then inhale to stretch and open up the arms and the chest. Exhaling in. 2 more like that. You can let the breath out through the mouth if it feels good to release like that. Holding the breath in a little more. Alright, and we're going to come on to all fours, kneeling. And just for some cat. So, just dipping the belly and looking up. And arching the back and looking down between the legs. So you inhale as you look up and exhale as you look down. And then just some freestyle movement with the cat, some circles or moving in any way, an unprescribed movement, just so you can get into the bits that you need to. It can be really nice to just close the eyes and just feel what needs moving. And then come back to your all fours, and we'll take the right leg out behind and the left arm out in front, so it's a bit of a balance. And as you inhale, just reach a little further, and as you exhale, bring the knee and the elbow towards each other, and then reach all the way out, straightening out. Exhale to come in. So we'll just do this a few times. And this next time that you extend the arm and leg, just hold it there and lift everything a fraction higher, and then land the hand and the knee back down again. And we'll go on the other side. So the left leg is out behind, the right arm is stretching, and then you take an inhale here and exhale to bring elbow and knee towards each other. So you're kind of working the stomach muscles as you bring everything into the center. Last time to squeeze in, and this time reach arm and leg, and then lift everything a fraction higher, and then set the hand and the knee back down. And we'll just tuck the toes and sit the bum back on the heels, so the toes are tucked over and they're getting a nice stretch. And you could just wiggle from side to side a little bit to stretch the toes out. And then lift up and set the toes back down and come back to your child's pose so that your forehead comes towards the floor. And let the breath expand the lower back. And then we're just going to lift the head and come back up to kneeling. And just to open the hip, we'll take the left knee out towards the side, so you're kind of drawing a circle. So you lift the knee up towards the side and circle it outwards. And then circling it inwards. So you reach out backwards, out towards your elbow and back in again. And the knee comes back down to the floor, and this time open the knee all the way out to the side and take the foot round behind you so you can reach the foot way away from you, and then bring the knee back towards your shoulder, so the left shoulder, and then take it away from you so you're stretching it round behind you, and bring the knee back towards your left shoulder. One more time. Back towards the left shoulder, and this time just straighten the foot out towards the side so that it's like you're doing a side kick, and then just bring the knee back down. And you can tuck the toes and sit back on the heels and just, I don't know if you like to give it a bit of a beating. I've forgotten the word now. A Doin massage. That sounds more friendly, doesn't it? So we'll go on the other side. So it would be the right knee, and we're just circling out towards the side, opening up the hip. So about 3 or 4 on each side, and then circling in the other way. And then we'll bring the right knee up and out to the side, and then take the foot behind you so it goes all the way around, stretching around, and then bring it back towards the right shoulder. So it stretches way around behind, and then back to the right shoulder. Inhaling to stretch it behind, and exhale back to the shoulder. And then extending the leg out to the side, holding it there for a little moment, and then bring the knees back down again. And then we're going to come back to kneeling, tuck the toes, and then we'll extend into a downward dog. So just straightening up and bending and stretching the legs. And just, you could turn the heels from side to side. And you could bend both knees deeply and keep the elbows working towards each other. And then just kind of rolling through the back. So you lift up the back so you come forwards to your plank position. And then bend the knees and come backwards again and up into your downward dog, and then come over into a plank. So it's like you're going through a rolling kind of circle, just to kind of stretch into the spine. And then finish off in your plank position so that you're extending the heels away from you and extending the crown of the head away from you, and that the knees come down and come onto the tops of the feet, and then lower down the chest. And then with the hands either side of the chest, just lift up the head and the chest, and exhale to lower down. And inhale to lift, and exhale to lower down. And inhale to lift, and then just look to the right hand side, so you're getting a stretch in the side of the body, and back to the center. And exhale to the left hand side, and back to the center. And then exhale down, come back up to kneeling, to all fours. And we just sit back and release the wrists a bit. So you can just take the weight off the wrists. And if you struggle with wrists, you can always try elbows. Being on elbows with downward dog still works, because we're going to go back into downward dog in a minute. So we'll come back to it, And we'll just do a little variation of what we did kneeling. So coming back into downward dog. And we'll extend the right leg up nice and high on an inhalation. And as you exhale, come forward and bring the knee towards the nose, but you're coming over into a plank position. So come back into downward dog, stretch the leg up, and exhale to bring the knee forwards and bring the shoulders forwards. So coming up and forwards. So as you come forwards, your stomach muscles will come in, and that's quite a nice one for strengthening there. And then this time when you come in, we're just going to put the left foot in front of the right foot so it's crossed. And then you come down onto your heels and lift the left arm up. So you've got like a side balancing plank. And then come back to downward dog. And then you just come back down onto the knees. Sit back on the heels, and you can release the wrists a little bit before we go to the other side. So we'll come back to the other side, tucking the toes and extending back up. And we're going to lift the left leg on an inhalation, nice and high, and exhale, and the nose comes right forwards as you come forward into a plank. Extend back up and forwards. Reaching up and forwards, and just one more time. And this time then just send the left foot in front of the right so your legs are crossed, and then swivel onto the side edges so the weight is in the left hand and the right hand could reach up nice and strong in the arm and in the side of the body, and just come down when you need to. So let's bring the hand back down. And from our downward dog, let's walk all the way to the front and end up folded forward so that your head is nice and loose, and the shoulders and the hands, and you could just shake yes and no a couple of times. Knees could still be bent. And then just inhale to lift the head and the chest so you've got a flat back and the fingers are reaching towards the floor. And exhale to fold forwards again. So face comes towards the knees. So inhale, flat back with the fingers reaching down. And exhale, fold towards the knee. Inhaling up. And exhaling to fold. And this time we'll come all the way up and we'll stick the arms out towards the side. Up and overhead. And the hands will come down to the heart. So we're at standing. And you can have the feet a little bit hip width. And we'll just do a little flopping the arms from side to side. So you can let them flop. And that's quite nice for the lower back. And we can bring the hands up to shoulder height. And bring them all the way up towards the sky. And then just keep going with that. Okay, turn the light on. And then bring the hands back down. And back down to flopping at the side. Alright, so we'll just let the hands rest there and just roll the shoulders a few times. I gotta get back in my flow now. That knocked me. So we're gonna take the hands back behind you, roll the shoulders, and extend them away so they're interlaced. And we're just gonna tuck both hands around on the right hip. So your hands are settled on the hip. Your right elbow opens up, and then you inhale and then squeeze the elbow towards the left elbow. So inhale to open. And exhale to squeeze. Inhale to open. And exhale to squeeze. And you can look towards the left to kind of give an extra stretch on the side of the neck. So this time you squeeze the elbows together, then leave them squeezed towards each other. And then bring the head back to the center and release the arms. And we're going to interlace them the other way. So interlace the fingers the awkward way round. Open up the shoulders and bring the fist down to rest on the left hip this time. So you open up the left elbow and exhale to squeeze it towards the right. So inhaling to open, exhaling to squeeze. Just keeping going. And you could take your head towards the right as well if you want that extra stretch in the neck. And this time then just opening and squeezing, we'll hold the elbows squeezed towards each other. Seeing if you can relax the shoulders at the same time. And then looking back to the center, and we'll bring the hands back and just relax the arms. And we'll take the left foot forwards and the right foot back into a warrior. So a nice long wide stance with the arms about shoulder height and bending the front knee. So right foot is back, left foot is forwards, and the gaze is over the front middle finger, so that you're nice and strong in the legs and grounded through the feet. So really grounded base position, but really light in the upper body, so the shoulders and the neck and the arms could be fairly relaxed and light. And then turn the front hand up and send it all the way up to the sky. Front knee stays really bent. And I like to lift up the toes on the front foot and just set them down so they're not gripping on. And you can reach backwards a little bit. And then come to straighten the front leg and reach forwards. And then bring the arm up so that you're in your triangle pose. You can rest on the shin or on the floor or pressing back against the shin. And this is if your body is pressed between two panes of glass, so you're really opening up the chest and the back. And then swing the front hand down towards the floor, so you end up in a long lunge. And in your long lunge, take the hands inside the front foot. So you've got a long lunge with the back knee straight. And then just pushing up, so you're lifting the hips up and just lifting the front toes. So you get a stretch on the front hamstring and sink forwards with the back leg straight. So it's just rocking backwards and forwards to get some space in the hips. And then the next time you come to the front, we're just going to walk the hands around to the middle, so you're facing the wide edge of your mat. The hands are pressed on the floor and the crown of the head sinks towards the floor, and the hands could start walking back between the midline of the feet, so that as you press away into the mat, your head comes further towards the floor, possibly. And you might want to widen the stance a little bit here. Most people can go a bit wider if that feels comfortable. Letting the jaw be relaxed again. After this breath, we'll come back up, straightening the arms, bringing the feet back in towards each other so you can come up to standing. And then we'll make the right foot be the front foot and the left foot be the back foot, so you can switch around as suits you so that you can see. So the front knee is bent, the right knee is bent, and we're back in our warrior two position. With the gaze over the front middle finger. And looking down, see that you can just see your big toe inside the knee so that your knee's not dropping in, and that's like a really nice way to protect the knee. Great for knee strengtheners, all the standing warrior poses. So again, that lightness in the shoulders and the arms as if you had wings. And then flipping the front hand up and reaching up for your proud warrior. deep bend in the front knee, and then maybe reaching further backwards, and then straightening the front leg and bringing the back hand up so that you can turn all the way around into your triangle position, so that the right hand is resting against the leg, the left arm is reaching up towards the ceiling, and the gaze could be up or down depending on the neck. And then bring the left hand down towards the floor so that you can end up in a long lunge, and the front hand could come inside the foot. And this is, we're doing our rocking backwards and forwards. So sinking forwards with the hips, keeping the back leg straight, and then lifting the hips up and back, straightening the front leg. And just creating space here, however suits you. And if that's really not comfortable, you can take the back knee down and you can still just rock backwards and forwards with the front leg. So this time we're going to walk around to the front edge again, so we're facing the wide edge of the mat, and just go for a different variation on the wide angle. So we're going to place the right hand underneath the face, so it's in the middle, so you've got like a triangle between your feet and your hand, and then the left hand will reach up towards the ceiling and the gaze could go up with it. But just check that your hips haven't turned all the way around as well, so the hips are still fairly square, and that might mean that you just twist less. So by square I mean the left hip hasn't dropped too much. And then bring the left hand to replace the right hand in the middle. And then reaching up with the right hand. And again, check that the left hip doesn't drop as you turn. Bring the hand back down, and we'll walk the feet in, so that you can come all the way back up to standing. Sweeping the arms out, up and overhead. And exhaling the hands to the heart. And then we'll reach back up again, inhaling up. And exhaling to fold forwards. And from there, you could do a little hop backwards so that you end up in your downward dog position. And we're just going to be here briefly as a transition to the pigeon pose. So just so you know where you're going, if you know that one, and if you don't, I'll try and describe it. So the right leg lifts up nice and high, and then as you come forward, you land the knee on the floor just behind the right wrist. And the back knee can come down onto the floor as well. So you're on both knees, and just lift up the left hand and take hold of the foot and open it up a little bit so that the shin is a little bit more straight in front of you. And then square the hips again. And reach the left leg back. And then you're propped up in your pigeon pose. So there's an option there to come down onto the elbows if you're comfortable. And just resting into that position. If you want to, if you feel like you've got the space there, you could come onto your forearms and onto your forehead. So just take the stage of the position that feels steady and comfortable for you. And if this really has no stage, which is steady and comfortable, then please come out of it, and you can do a similar variation lying on your back. With the ankle on the knee. So if you're there, just taking 3 more nice long deep breaths. Thinking about releasing the shoulders and the jaw. And then just lifting up the head. Propping back up onto the hands. And bring the back knee in a little bit. And we'll just bring the back foot up. I'll come sideways so I can show you. the back foot up could come up and reach back for it with the left hand. So we're just going to squeeze it in towards the buttocks. So up to you what you do here. This is an opportunity for a balance there. So you could take the right hand up to prop you up and see if you can lift it. And the key is drawing the inner thighs towards each other. But again, stay with the variation that suits you. And then to come out of it, we tuck the back toes, lift the back knee and swing that leg out so you can just shake it out. And lift it up and do anything you need to do to release that leg. And then you know what we're doing next. We're doing the other side. So we're going to come back up to your downward dog. Lift the left leg nice and high. And land the knee in behind the left wrist. Back knee comes down. And then with the right hand, just bringing the foot a little further up, as long as that's comfortable with your knee. And squaring the hips again. And then coming back onto the elbows. Or onto the forearms. Or staying propped up on the hands.
And with that closeness of the forehead towards the floor, just feeling that you can empty all of the mind chatter into the earth, like the grounding we were doing at the beginning. Just one more breath.
And then lifting the head and coming back up onto elbows and onto hands. And then that option to fold the back foot in and take hold of it with the right hand and just to draw it in for that squeeze. And you bring the front knee further back. So you can use the left hand as a stabilizer or lift it up if you're feeling strong in the legs. And then coming back down, tucking the back toes, lifting the back knee and swinging the left leg up and releasing it in any way that feels good, shaking it, bending it, opening up the hip. And then we'll come towards the front of the mat and come to seated. And just hugging the knees in. So we'll hug the knees right in and straighten up the spine and tuck the chin in a little bit. So you're getting a nice traction on the spine and relaxing the shoulders. Just closing the eyes for a moment. And then just curving the back and hugging the forehead in towards the knees. And we'll lift the head, straighten the back again, and then just lift up the feet for that little boat pose practice. If you want to extend the arms, you could do so. Shins are parallel towards the floor, and you could straighten the legs if you want to, and then hug the knees back in, bringing the forehead down. And we could try again if you fancy. So lifting the toes up, reaching the arms, choose your stage, straightening the legs. And then hugging the knees in. And we'll just drop the knees out and bring the feet together. So I've got quite a wide diamond, so the feet are quite far away. And I'm just opening up the hips and coming forwards with the elbows. So I'm holding onto the toes. So you can be sitting upright in this position and butterflying the knees, or you can come forwards if that's available.
And just drop the head down.
And then lift up the head. And bring the knees back towards each other. And straighten the legs. And then we'll bring the toes back towards us. So the legs are straight, the heels are together, and the hands are just either side of the hips on the floor, so that you're using your stomach and your hip flexors to keep you upright. And we're going to reach up. And then just reach forwards and over the feet. And reach back up. Exhale forwards. One more time, reaching up. And exhaling forwards. And then just drop the head down towards the knees. Knees can be as bent as you like if the hamstrings are tight. I'm thinking of the breath just carving a channel through the spine. So as if it's creating space all the way up the spine and drawing light up into the spine. All the way from the earth up to the heavens. Okay, so we're lying on the back now, and knees hugged in. And then just circling the knees around a little bit, just to ease out the lower back. And hugging the knees in, and then as you exhale, bringing the nose up towards the knees, so you get a little hedgehog ball curl, and then inhaling to lower the head back down. Exhale to bring the nose up to the knees. Inhaling to bring the head back down, and exhale one more time, nose up towards the knees. And head back down. And we'll take the arms out to the side and drop the knees all the way down to the left-hand side, so that you're in a twist on the floor on your back. So you can shuffle a little bit more onto your back. And you could take the head over to the right-hand side if you want to lengthen the twist into the neck. Just thinking about the breath and where it's travelling to as you're twisting. And bring the knees back up to the centre, and the knees over to the right hand side this time. Again, shuffling around on your back to get comfortable, and take the gaze over to the left if that's comfortable with your neck. Just one more breath in that supine twist, and then we'll bring the knees back up. and a happy baby. So the feet towards the ceiling, if that's comfortable. Reach towards the outside edges of the feet and draw the knees towards the armpits. So make sure you tuck the tailbone towards the floor as well. And then you can just rock from side to side. And this is a really nice one for the lower back as well. And if that doesn't feel comfortable, you can always have like a scarf that you're holding onto around the feet if you've got something like that nearby, or with the feet against the wall in the same position or against the sofa or something. Just for when you're practicing it another time, I guess. And you could straighten one leg as you're rolling over to one side, just straighten the opposite leg. And then drop the heels down and land the feet on the floor. And we will finish with just lifting the hips up into a bridge position. So just a couple of times lifting and lowering. With the feet tucked right in towards the buttocks and just scooping up the hips and lifting as far as is comfortable. And the option of holding as you lift really high, then just interlacing the hands underneath you and reaching the knuckles towards the heels and getting that lift in the hips by strengthening the thighs and the knees. And then releasing the hands and lower the back down onto the floor. And any final little wiggles you want to make before we just flop out into Shavasana. So make yourself really comfortable, and I will talk you through a Shavasana, and I'll ring little bells when it's time to finish. And I'm just going to come closer so you can hear. So make yourself warm and comfortable. So just flopping onto the floor, so the palms of the hands could be faced up and the feet could just flop out to the sides of the body. And have that sense of reconnecting with the earth again, the support beneath the body. As if you could surrender everything that you carry to the support of the earth. She is more than capable of taking all of your weight, mental, physical, emotional. So just seeing how it would be to allow yourself to be held. As if lying in the lap of the Great Mother. This little poem which I've been reading this week, I'll just read to you. Consider all the pain and all the pleasure you have ever experienced as waves on a very deep ocean, which you are. From the depths, witness those waves, rolling along so bravely, always changing, beautiful in their self-sustaining power, and marvel that once you identified with only the surface of this ocean. Now embrace waves, depths, undersea mountains, out to the farthest shore. Consider all the pain and all the pleasure you have ever experienced as waves on a very deep ocean, which you are. From the depths, witness those waves, rolling along so bravely, always changing. Beautiful in their self-sustaining power. Marvel that once you identified with only the surface of this ocean. Now embrace waves, depths, undersea mountains, out to the farthest shore. You can just let all of that go and drift away over your head. So just bringing the awareness and the attention back into the body and the breath a little deeper. and reawakening to this moment, as we have the opportunity to do in every moment, just waking back up, waking up, always waking up to our consciousness and to this moment from whatever's happening. And so just taking some little stretches to waken up and being comfortable, rolling onto the side for a couple of moments. And then you could come back up to seated in your own time. You just rub the hands together. We don't need to rub them much to get some heat today, do we? And just taking them to anywhere on the body that needs a little bit of love, if it's the lower back that's been aching, or the shoulders, or if it's an emotional location. And just hold the warmth of the hands on the body and feel that prana flowing in through the hands into the body. A loving touch of your own hands. And to rub the hands together again, and either the same place or a different place. And softening the touch, as if you were laying your hands on somebody else. And then let's just bring the hands together at the heart. And bowing to yourself. Namaste.